We are very fortunate to have such a enthusiastic and great crowd of people here this morning. So I've been mayor 3 years, and I don't know if it's the humidity or if it's the occasion, but my palms are a little sweaty this morning. Have you seen that before, Governor?
Not on you.
So I want to say good morning and welcome to Lawrence-Dumont Stadium. Obviously a long time coming. We have some very important people to introduce. I'll introduce Governor here in a minute, but behind me is the majority of the City Council that obviously are very supportive, and this day wouldn't happen without them. So I want to introduce the Vice Mayor, Brian Fry. Always right behind me. Councilmember James Clendenin, Councilmember Cindy Claycomb, and Councilmember Pete Meitzner, and Councilmember Jeff Blueball. Wouldn't want to miss him. And yes, thank you. And so it certainly wouldn't happen without them. Also, certainly want to mention our city manager, Bob Layton, and assistant city manager, Scott Rigby, were serving integral roles in making this day happen, too. I think they have slid into the background somewhere, but certainly we appreciate their efforts and support. So I want to talk a moment about the stadium itself. This stadium was built in 1934, named for former Mayor Charles Lawrence and legendary promoter and owner Ray Hap Dumont. Mayor Lawrence can be credited with bringing baseball within the city limits, and Hap Dumont brought semi-pro games here. Wichita has played a key role in the history of baseball. The first game of the National Baseball Congress was played here nearly 85 years ago. It included an integrated team led by legendary pitcher Satchel Paige long before the major leagues became integrated. We're proud of this heritage, and we're happy to announce efforts that will elevate baseball in that way. The stadium has served our community well for 84 years. From the Pilots to the Arrows to the Wranglers, and for the past 10 years, the Wingnuts, we are fortunate to have a rich history of teams that have played in this stadium, and we're grateful to all of them. But the stadium has seen better days. Multiple engineers and architects have evaluated the stadium and have told us it just cannot be salvaged. The city will release a demolition bid shortly with the goal of demolishing LDS by this fall. Now, what we have been waiting 3 years and sweaty palms for, so I know that there's been a lot of anticipation in this community, and so today it's certainly something we're proud to reach this milestone. Mayor Lawrence and Hap Dumont, who brought baseball here, I think would still be very proud. It's time to enhance their legacy. So this morning, on behalf of the City Council, I'm thrilled to announce that the New Orleans Baby Cakes of the AAA Pacific Coast League, and who are affiliated with the Miami Marlins, have filed a relocation application with Minor League Baseball seeking to relocate the club to Wichita. So, for those of you that may not know, AAA baseball is the highest level of minor league baseball. This application is subject to the approval of Minor League Baseball, the Pacific Coast League, the baseball office of the commissioner, before the club can relocate to Wichita. This deal has involved multiple moving parts and has been extremely difficult, to say the least. But minor league baseball assures me that this deal may have moved slower, but by government standards, but it's been executed extremely quickly by baseball standards. And so I want to thank some of those key partners who have helped us along the way, including the New Orleans team ownership, many of our area employers such as Cargill, the Greater Wichita Partnership, and I know I've seen several of them. Jeff Fleur is here and his team. Emprise and Spirit also stepped in to help advocate for our community at a critical stage when we need that advocacy to make this happen. And certainly the guy standing next to me here this morning that's going to share remarks is critical to making this happen. And we couldn't be happier. I also want to thank Secretary of Commerce Bob North, and obviously critically important, as I mentioned, Governor Collier. Thank you, Governor. The governor took several hours away from his day because the timing couldn't have been worse on election day this past election cycle, and spent it here in Wichita advocating for Wichita to receive a AAA baseball team. And without that help, we're not sure if it would have happened. So, Governor, thank you very much, and I'm going to turn the podium over to you.
I just shook hands with the mayor, and his palms aren't sweaty. This is a great celebration, and I want to congratulate Wichita on all that you have done. You know what, they're even calling me now. Mom, sorry about that. But we're so excited about what has happened here. The entire city council, the entire community has come together and worked so hard over the last 3 years to bring this together. This is an important milestone for the city of Wichita, and I want to say congratulations and thank you for this incredible work of putting this all together. As we're coming together, the state had to play a role in this. This is incredibly important for the future of the state of Kansas. This is one of the great amenities, one of the great things that makes Wichita a tourist destination. It is a second home. It's a weekend place for families across the state and from our neighboring states. And having a AAA baseball team right here in Wichita adds a lot to the lifestyle and to what is going on in this great community. So the state of Kansas also participated in this, and it was important. It was important to be there on election day so that we could actually make sure that we get the deal done. It is so important that the state has played a part in this with Star Bonds, and it is really living up to what that whole measure, what Star Bonds were about. As we're looking out here, though, we're seeing the whole renaissance of this area, of this downtown area and the Riverwalk and what is going on here. And that's thanks to a lot of great leadership by the mayor, from our city councilmen, and from the entire community of looking forward to a livable place, a fantastic place. But then we get to have a baseball team. And working with the Pacific Coast League, working with the ownership was very important. They are committed to this community. They believe in this community. And that really says where Wichita is happening. That flag should be flying high for a lot of reasons. And today, especially so, that we should do that. So I want to thank all of you for stepping up, and Wichita continues and will have an even brighter future with its own AAA baseball team.
So I want to thank the governor for all that he's done, and certainly the governor brought some important members of his family. His wife has joined us and one of his daughters, so thank you all for coming to this, and we appreciate you being in our city again, and we know that you care deeply about our city. I hope that this helps us grow a bond that will last an additional lifetime. So we're very excited about the prospect of bringing this AAA baseball team to Wichita to attract not only the interest of the Pacific Coast League, and one of their teams speaks volumes about the upward direction that Wichita and the region and the state of Kansas is going in. It's a time that we shed all of the remaining vestige of the misperception that we're a quiet little Midwestern town. And I know that there were a number of folks that did not believe that we would ever achieve a team of this stature. because they believed maybe a lower division league was good enough for Wichita. And truly, that is just simply not the case. So we are one of the top 50 largest cities in the country, and the country's starting to take notice. So hopefully Wichita will be soon competing against teams from other AAA cities such as Nashville, Las Vegas, Charlotte, Louisville, Indianapolis, Des Moines, Omaha, Oklahoma City, and Salt Lake City, just to name a few. Fans of the AAA team will experience the closest connection to a Major League Baseball game. AAA baseball will also add another great amenity to help us attract and retain the talent for our businesses and industry, and that's why so many of our business partners stepped up to help make this happen, because they understand what it means in terms of recruiting talent to come to Wichita, Kansas. And make no mistake, we need to recruit talent. And for the doubters and the folks that wasn't sure this would ever happen, one of the things that gives me the most pride is the comment that was made by the commissioner of the Pacific Coast League when he shared with me that, Mayor, you're not getting a team just because of the hard work and where your group has brought Wichita at today. We're giving you a team because we believe in Wichita and where it's going to be tomorrow. So the last time Wichita had a AAA team was 1984. The Wichita Arrows, which fans loyally supported during the team's 14 years here from 1970 to 1984. We look forward to the excitement of AAA baseball in Wichita, bringing some of the game's best prospects and future Major League stars to play right here in our community. And at this point in time, the governor's happy to answer any questions that you all might have. So we'll open it up for questions. One thing I might add, we were hoping to have Pitbull here to introduce the governor, and he was going to sing a song. So the next best thing we could get was the vice mayor agreed to shave his head and do a rap song for us. Maybe not.
So you've got a rendering there. Can you explain to us what we're looking at there?
So the rendering has been an opportunity to showcase our river corridor, because we're not building just a baseball stadium. We're hoping to build a gathering place for the community. And this gathering place is going to include a wide variety of amenities along the river corridor. And obviously the goal is to bring Wichitans together, bring the region together to enjoy a lot of great amenities. And so you'll see a new AAA baseball stadium, which is dramatically different than you would see at most levels of baseball. And AAA requires a lot of amenities. And so that's a rendering of a stadium that we intend to pattern the new stadium after. It will have a number of amenities that include a museum and a home for the first time ever for the National Baseball Congress that will be housed here at Lawrence-Dumont Stadium. Absolutely. On the edge of that rendering, you can see a new pedestrian bridge that we intend to bring across the river about midway. We are looking at putting a significant entrance to the stadium from the center field portion of this new stadium, where we believe a lot of pedestrian traffic will come from. The intention is to build a baseball village out there next to this stadium and have all of the amenities that you would expect into a new baseball village. We know that there are a number of plans that are floating out there that could bring a wide variety of new restaurant concepts and retail concepts to Wichita. And again, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a AAA team coming, because it certainly is the catalyst that we believe will attract so much more along this river corridor. And so we're excited about this. I'm sure these renderings will change a few more times before the final construction, but it's certainly what we're trying to achieve in terms of building on this river corridor.
Could you talk about this process because you were very public about talks you had for a while?
So I don't know that we have enough time before the first snowfall to include the entire process. So this is a process, honestly, that started 3 years ago. So this process started 3 years ago when the city manager and I sat down and we talked about what we believe could happen in the core of our city. And phase one of that process was, how do we come up with the finances to build a stadium? And as we worked through that process, we did a lot of penciling. I'm sure the manager went through a lot of number twos on that. And it was just simply difficult to figure out how we could pencil it and make it financially work. And ultimately, the only thing that did make it work was the governor stepping in and helping us with star bond resources, and there's some other opportunities that now really truly makes it pencil. So that was step one. And it was just a long, difficult process starting 3 years ago, and I don't know that I'll put it in my first book. So
Mayor, people want to know how much this will cost taxpayers, both the new building and the demolition of this old one, and just tell us exactly the cost of this entire project.
So the beauty of that is that the star bonds don't add an additional tax onto the community. So the way the star bonds work is they capture whatever sales tax is already being captured in this area. And then anything net new gets captured goes to paying off all of this construction, including the demolition and everything else that goes on here. Now we're doing the same thing with some tax increment financing. So we have a TIF district here that will operate very similar. So all of the current taxes that are collected, property taxes in this area, will continue to go through the regular normal channels. But anything net new will then go to help build the infrastructure in this area. So taxpayers aren't paying an additional tax of any kind to help build all of this. Because when we started penciling it 3 years ago, that's where we couldn't get to. We couldn't get to a place that we could say taxpayers will give you a return on your investment, this will work. We could not get there. So taxpayers are off the hook with star bonds and TIF financing, because then it's just the net new based on the catalyst and what it will bring to be able to pay off all of these amenities that we're building. And then much of the amenities will be built by the private industry. So the hotel and business parks and restaurants will all be built by the private industry. And so those are not taxpayer dollars, but they're going to want to take advantage of this catalyst site. And so again, the governor gets credit for being able to bring this together, because it would not happen. It simply would not happen without Governor Collier's support on this. And that was at times difficult to navigate, and he'll put that in his first book.
Will the team name be changing as well as the stadium name?
So absolutely, we don't expect them to keep the name the Baby Cakes, although it does have some familiar with my nickname.
And we're done.
Question for Governor Collier.
Governor?
How successful have the star bond projects been, especially here in Wichita? We do have one in the northeast side of town. How has that helped out? Has that actually met projections?
So overall, most of our star bond projects, and I'm talking about over the lifetime of them as a state, have worked out very well for the state. What they do is it allows capital to be accumulated now and then paid off by generating new business to them. And so, by and large, most of these projects have been very, very successful. They do not obligate the Kansas taxpayers in the end on this, and that's what's so important. But it allows us to create amenities, and the point of them was to make sure that we bring in new business into the state, and that's exactly what this does. Great.
Do we have an estimate of the cost? It looks like that'd be moving it towards the river, so possibly moving the road, and any type of estimate at this point.
So we do. The stadium itself has been estimated anywhere between 60 million and 73 million, with a number of amenities included that will include the museum component to it and some other things. And so it's pretty widespread. We intend to work hard to reach out, and we have been reaching out to the private industry to encourage them to help us and guide us through part of this process, and truly help us with keeping the costs down and getting the most out of every single dollar. And so we're excited about it, but excited about the future of Wichita. So it truly is a great day.
Mayor, let's
Yeah.
talk for a moment about having it on the river and what that might do to increase development on the river.
So we've been underutilizing our river corridor for far too long, and we're starting to see the benefits of some of this development being built on the river. Our park department now offers paddleboard classes in the summer on the river. We would have never imagined doing that if we didn't have this development down here. And as we have built this city, we have literally turned our back on this river for decades and decades and decades. And now we're embracing the river as the great amenity that it should be. And so this will help us embrace the river even more and be that true gathering place for not just Wichitans, but the entire region. Again, when we talk about regional support, you don't see a city our size get a baseball team of this magnitude. But it will happen because of what is happening in this region.
When can we see the baby case here?
So they are working on, through the formalized part of this process, a plan to introduce themselves to the city of Wichita, and I don't have a timeline for that right now. Yes.
One question, I mean, New Orleans is twice the size of metropolitan area as Wichita, and having looked at their average attendance at 5,500, which is actually pretty low in the Pacific League, how are we gonna keep up with that?
Again, it's because of the momentum that we have in this city. Who would have imagined even 3 years ago that everybody would be painting, step up here, Councilman Meissner, Wichita flags on everything that you can imagine, including a baseball hat, on their garages and their flower pots. We have tremendous momentum in this community, and you can quantify it by the development that you're seeing happen in the core of our city, from the new Cargill building, which truly believes in where Wichita is going, or they would not have called Wichita their worldwide headquarters. And so as the representatives came in and spent 3 days here and visited with leaders, they're taking their calculated risks, saying, again, we truly believe in the momentum and where Wichita's heading. And we believe that that's going to be the strength of this city and the opportunity to fill up the stadium for a ballpark of this nature. So they just truly believe in where we're going and the momentum and what's happening in this region.
How many seats do you expect this ballpark to have?
So we're looking at roughly about 7,000 fixed seats, seating capacity of near 10 to 11,000 total capacity, with all of the things that will be happening around the edges and some gathering places that people will have to gather, and with obviously an opportunity to build some outfield fixed seating as needed as we continue to see some growth in future years, and just a great opportunity to plug in all of the amenities that people will want to have. And it's not just for baseball fans. It's for people that just want to gather, and Wichita is looking for great gathering spots, and this is going to become one of the great gathering places. And so people that our lukewarm baseball fans are going to come here too and have a great evening and enjoy all of the amenities that you'll be able to participate in a stadium of this nature.
We anticipate baseball here in 2020.
So that's still our goal, is that we'll have the stadium ready to go. It's going to be a tight timeline and maybe put a little pressure on a few folks to get it done, but we have a good team and we believe that we can make that happen. And as the council and I continue to remind the city manager, there's 24 hours in a day.
Give a demolition timeline.
So the demolition, we hope, will happen here very soon this fall. We have given the team time to take all of their stuff out of here, and so they have until, I think, 30 days from this past Monday to clear the stadium. And then we still want to look at potentially having some kind of a appreciation day and bringing people in, and we may auction off some items here and allow people to have access to some memorabilia, and we'll have to work out those details, but we still want the stadium and the site to be cleared by this fall.
What is the final message you would like to tell the citizens of Wichita regarding whether it's baseball or other multi-uses of this new facility that you guys are planning?
So truly our message is the message that this council, that this community has been sharing for a long time. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for understanding that we have to invest in us to move this community forward. And for some, thank you for your patience. It is a slow, painful process for some of these things to come to fruition. But it's one that had a goal in mind, that people understood the consequences and what it would mean for our community for decades to come. And so we stayed the course. The council was strong, and we're all saying the same thing. We're ready to invest in us to make a difference in our future tomorrow. Yeah. So we don't know. I mean, the Wingnuts obviously will still own their franchise, and so it's kind of up to them a little bit. All right. Thank you all for coming, and looking forward to a bright future. Appreciate you.